Hear that? Is that America cheering or a sausage patty sizzling to perfection? It's time to cheer for Egg McMuffin and fresh cracked eggs at McDonald's. It's time to wake up to the aroma of freshly baked biscuits and treat yourself to a real honest-to-goodness morning meal. Breakfast, it's on at McDonald's. Now get any breakfast sandwich for just $2. Available only through the app. Mobile order and pay available at participating McDonald's. McD app download and registration required.
There are a lot of choices when it comes to car shopping. Only Kelley Blue Book is your trusted resource for one-stop car shopping. Have confidence to price it, buy it, fix it, trade it, sell it, and love it when you KBB.com it. It's as easy to say as it is to use. Kelley Blue Book is the #1 most trusted third-party automotive site. So no matter what your it is, be empowered to nail it at KBB.com.
What is going on? You are watching, listening to Tags Live, aka Talk About Gay Sex, the live version on the Get Vocal platform. I'm your host, Steve V, alongside Kodi Maurice Doggette. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Hello, darling. It's such a pleasure to be here with you on this stormy Wednesday night. I had to think about what night it was.
Stormy. I know. Definitely stormy. My goodness. Lightning and all. I hope it just goes away soon. I'm
Me
back
too.
in my throne here in New York City.
Welcome home, darling.
Thank you. Yeah. So happy to be back. But such a great time I had over there in P-Town as well as Boston. So much fun. We got to see I got to see our co-host Jeremy Ross Lopez, which was really awesome.
I was so jealous.
Yeah, it was really great. Super fun to see him and catch up with him in real time and have dinner. We had such a great time. And just Imperial Man 66 just said, love that you are together. You have such a wonderful bond. Thank you, Imperial Man 66. Love that. Yeah. So great time in Boston. Boy, it's clean in Boston.
Yo, what? Okay. I know we don't like to do the whole New York thing, but what is New Yorkers do? I always comment on how clean a city is whenever I go somewhere else.
Right.
It's crazy.
Yeah, we were just talking about our messy bedrooms, so it's the
same. Put me on blast, why don't you?
Yeah, sorry.
It's okay. It's still messy. I don't care.
Okay.
Nobody sees it but me and my boyfriend, so we're good to go.
Nice. Well, I wanted
to come clean it.
Oh. Okay. I wanted to follow up, though, because you and I were talking about on episode 294 with Jeremy the other day when I was in P-Town. And it's so funny because I was talking about OnlyFans model performer Derek Allen and how I kept running and seeing him. And I was going to go up to him and just be like, oh, I'm a fan of your OnlyFans, and never did. And wouldn't you know it, he kept popping up here and there. He was at so I get on the Amtrak train to come home, and I sit in the seat. I think I got confused, and guess who comes and sits right in front of me in the seat is Derek Allen. And I was like, oh my God, we're going to be on this train for like the next 4 hours, or I don't know if he was going to New York or not, but at least he was going to be on the train with me. And I was so excited until a guy like tapped on my shoulder and said, excuse me, what seat do you have? And the guy that like sat next to me in the window seat, literally, like I looked up, this guy is hovering over me, this young guy, and I look up, and I guess he put a bag like above our seats, and I was like, okay, and then I look up, and he's just staring at me, and I said, like, what the fuck? I didn't say that, but I was like,
sit down.
I said, oh, are you in here? And he's like, he just nodded, and I was like, I know.
What? He ruined your romantic comedy. It's what I think.
He did.
Because you and Derek Allen are supposed to be together now.
But then my face was cracked because another guy sat next to the seat on the other aisle, the seat across from me. And he's like, excuse me. And I'm like, what? I was like getting ready for my rom-com with Derek.
You're just aggravated with everybody on the train.
Aggravated.
I love it.
So I said, yes, what? And he's like, I think that guy is in your seat. And I was like, what? And I was like, no, I have the right. I'm 6F. And we're going back and forth. Well, I open up my seat and I am in 6F, but not in car number 6. I'm in car number 1. And I'm supposed to be sitting by myself way up there.
This is confusing.
So my face was cracked, and I said, "Oh, sorry, guys. I think that was so tail between my legs, and
it's okay.
And not what I wanted."
You should have told Derek to come up there with you.
I know, exactly. I should have grabbed him, and so, but I did DM him, and he responded and said we talked about him on episode 294. And wouldn't you know it, he said, great, he'll check it out. And he seemed really nice. He asked me if I had a good time in P-Town. He said he did. And so, it was a nice DM'd communication. And hopefully he'll listen to us talk about him on the show.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah,
so
nice follow-up to that.
We have time for what's the one with Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan?
You really
Sleepless in Seattle.
Oh, I was gonna say Sleeping with the Enemy because of that dick of his. But that's not an enemy. That would be my best friend.
I know, right?
Sorry, Sleepless in Boston or wherever we're going to. Okay, I love it.
Oh my goodness.
I know, I can't. All right. Well, we've got a full show for you, including a brand new Vulnerable Voices. And we just can't stop talking about some of the same people because they keep appearing in the news. And here we go again with rapper DaBaby. So we've been talking to you about how DaBaby was in concert and recently and told his fans, if you didn't listen to the show or you are living under a rock, that he told his fans to put up their cell phone lights oh my gosh, there goes the emergency alert.
You did that. You said, I hope we don't get an alert. And there she is, the alert. I got her on my phone like 3 minutes ago.
I wish it was a Derek Allen alert. Then I'd be like,
sorry,
girl. Stop the show. He just DM'd me back. No, it wasn't Derek Allen. It was a freaking emergency. And I know, I'm looking out my window and it's pouring cats and dogs. I get it. We have
flash flood. Okay.
So DaBaby been in the news because he told everybody in his concert, if you don't have AIDS or HIV, lift up your hands, right? Or raise your phone. Mm-hmm. And he also said, if you're not sucking dick in the parking lot, then raise your phones up. So it was totally anti-gay, anti-AIDS and HIV, and just
misogynistic too, because he said if your vagina's clean. So that part.
Thank you. Ooh.
He's just hitting all his bases with that.
Well, he was canceled for so many things, and obviously he did a song recently with Dua Lipa, and she definitely condemned the statements that he made, and he backtracked on a lot of the things that he had said. He, at first he said it sounded like maybe we got an apology, then it didn't. But recently, maybe, who knows, because he's been canceled in general, he did participate in a recent virtual meeting last Wednesday with Black leaders from numerous HIV organizations, where the activists shared facts on how the disease disproportionately affects African Americans. And DaBaby encountered a firestorm last month when, exactly like I told you, I won't repeat what they said exactly, but basically what I said. And even though he issued that apology, here's exactly who put this program together with DaBaby. So the Black AIDS Institute, Gilead Sciences, which we all know for Truvada, Compass Initiative Coordinating Centers, GLAD, NMAC, the Normal Anomaly Initiative, Positive Women's Network, USA. There you go.
I know.
Kodi. Prevention Access Campaign, which is the U equals U, the Southern AIDS Coalition, and Trans Inclusive Group, as well as a faith and HIV advisor. So the representatives issued the following statement regarding the meeting. So the open letter to DaBaby was our way to extend to him the same grace each of us would hope for. Our goal was to call him in instead of calling him out. We believe that if he connected with Black leaders living with HIV, that a space for community building and healing could be created. We are encouraged. He swiftly answered our call and joined us in a meaningful dialogue and a thoughtful educational meeting. And during this meeting, DaBaby was genuinely engaged, apologized for the inaccurate and hurtful comments he made about people living with HIV, and received our personal stories and the truth about HIV and its impact on Black and LGBTQ communities with deep respect. So they said, we appreciate that he openly and eagerly participated in this forum of Black people living with HIV, which provided him an opportunity to learn and receive accurate information. It goes on. I'll post a little bit more on TAGSPodcast.com tomorrow about what also went on in this. But essentially, their goal was not only to inform him, create an open platform, but they also said at the end of this that they hope that he takes his huge platform and continues to use it positively with some of this information that he learned. Do you, Kodi, do you think that that's asking too much? Or do you think that, let's talk about cancel culture. Here, to me, I'll just say my few thoughts real quick. To me, we're big in a cancel culture society. I'm always kind of sometimes for it when people put their foots in their mouth. I do think he did take a break. He was canceled. But for these people to put this initiative together and for him to accept, and it sounded like it was a very thoughtful and not pointing the finger, but really education. I'm all here for it, and I love that he was down for it. And I think that's how we truly grow. And I liked how they didn't do it for all of us to watch. They did it in a kind of private setting with all of them in this virtual call. I'm just wondering if he will really use his platform to kind of, is that asking almost too much of him? Do you think he will?
I don't think so. I don't think it's too much. First, I want to say that the Advocate, I want to applaud them because they are very shady with the picture that they posted with this article, and I live for it. So snaps to the Advocate. Yeah. But I am happy that DaBaby is taking these steps to learn more about HIV and AIDS, the LGBTQ community as a whole. And I hope that he really learns something from this experience, even if it's just to keep his mouth quiet on things that he doesn't know anything about. Yeah. I just want him to know I got my good eye on him now. I'm looking out the side eye, and if he messes up again, he's going to have to catch all the wrath, over here.
Yeah. And, I just think oftentimes in cancel culture, we want people to do the work, and we say they need to go back and do their work, but we never know what that work, if they in fact do any work, or they just take a step or a beat for us that we hope they forget about it. Here, we actually got, in a short amount of time, this almost coalition of many different organizations come together, create this panel, reach out to him. He accepts the letter. They did this, and it sounds like it went really well. I wish more instances like this could occur where, it took a lot for all these organizations to come together, but they thought this is a teaching moment, and we could really hopefully benefit from him and his platform. So whether or not he goes on, and he probably will never, ever talk about HIV negatively or AIDS, people living with AIDS again, whether or not he actually, uses this platform to educate, that's a different story. And I don't know that he needs to, but
people aren't irredeemable. So I'm glad that they're not just throwing him into the garbage with the cancel culture. So I'm glad that this is happening. And I really, really hope that he does actually use his platform to educate people and to educate the Black community, because there's still so much stigma in the Black community not only around gay people, but also with HIV and AIDS. So.
Absolutely. And I now know what you're talking about. I had to go back to the Advocate article that we will post on TAGSPodcast to see what you
see the picture?
I see the picture. And it's so funny you said that, because it's a picture of DaBaby, clearly in concert with a violet hoodie on his face, but he is making this face like he's in the middle of a rap that Shutterstock grabbed this picture. And I was thinking the same thing too earlier, like, ooh, that's a rough shot. Baby,
I'm here for it though,
and I now know what you're talking about. Right, they could have picked any picture, and that is so funny that you pointed that out. Shout out to Teddy, who is watching us on Get Vocal right now. Hi, Teddy.
Hi, Boo. Hi,
Thanks
Teddy,
for joining us. All right, well, more hot topics coming your way, including Crew Club DC, which is a gay spa in DC. And so I'll just read you a little bit of this. So how clubs, spas, gay venues open back up during COVID-19 or the Delta variant at times, that's all up to them, as long as it's safe and well thought out, according to Instinct Magazine's latest article on this situation. And one such opening recently has been gaining some attention for its very wide open arms and free, that's right, free entry to one demographic of our gay, bisexual, and trans community. So it's a DC men's spa called the Crew Club, and they held a soft launch. Hopefully it wasn't so soft inside with the guys. A soft
it's a hard launch inside.
I want a hard launch. Soft launch just doesn't work for me. Reopening celebration on the weekend of August 20th. And so they wrote about the location. We're just now reopening after 18 months, and our community is excited. And the opening weekend was attended by 763 people. To enter, you had to show ID and be 18 plus. And facilities included showers, steam room, sauna, and lounge area. Okay, your basic stuff. The Crew Club has said it is abiding by the mayor's mandate requiring masks for indoor spaces. We're going to talk about that. Masks must be kept on in public spaces, and all visitors must show proof of vaccination to enter. I like that last part. That's like the other place that we were talking about in Berkeley. The other bathhouse that opened up, I forget the name of it off the top of my head right now. Steam room. Thank you.
Yes.
There's one also in Chicago. And so essentially, patrons, if you came in there, if you were doing like a single day membership, Kodi, it'd be $38 for a locker, $46 for a small private room. That's what I would pick. And $50 for a large private room. Oh, I would do the $50.
I know you would. I was like, as soon as you said it, I was like, no, she's getting the large suite, honey. Okay,
the large suite that I'm going to decorate and disinfect on my own, like I do my airline seat every time I get on, just like Naomi Campbell.
Man!
But I think the question is that this article posed is a couple questions. I have to say, before we even ask the questions on this, I went to the Vault in P-Town on my last night, and the Vault is got a leather vibe to it. It's a cruise bar.
Okay.
And there wasn't a lot of activity going on. Now, granted, it was a Monday night, so, but there was porn being played, and I'm just saying, and P-Town's numbers are low right now. That wouldn't you know it, Kodi? The day we are leaving, they got rid of the mask mandate indoors. The day we were leaving, I'm like, wow, damn. So I could have had
some bad luck right there,
right? And I have to say, and we'll relate it to this story, is that essentially, the mask mandate in certain bars, you can't really play like you'd want to play. So I think my first question before we get into the spa, how do you play when I'm sure the Crew Club is primarily indoors? How do you play with a mask? How does that work?
I don't know that you can. And how is it a bathhouse if you have to wear a mask? That's the question that I want to know. I think I have to go for purely research reasons, but I think that we should go and do some research and report back to the people.
Hey,
it's a community service.
I can get back on my train again and get to DC. Yeah, I think you're right. Too bad we're not 18 to 24 and get in free. But
can I say I'm personally offended at the 18 to 24 discount? I am
now,
super hot. I'm as hot as any 19-year-old any day of the week. Okay.
So some of the questions that people were asking on this article, do you think that this business tactic is a great idea to get fresh faces into a spa? Or do you think that the other question, or they asked, is it too pervy of a move to draw college boys into the den of older paying men? So what are your thoughts on that?
I think that it's a good way for... I was just joking about being as hot as any 19-year-old. I mean, I am, but still. I think that it's a way for 18 to 24-year-olds to introduce them to the bathhouse scene. My boyfriend is 30 years old and he hasn't been to a bathhouse ever in his life. So I can see how it would draw people in. And I think that a lot of people would take advantage of that. So
yeah, I don't find it pervy.
I think it's a good thing. I don't think so
pervy
either
at all, because we all know that 18 to 24, DC has a lot of colleges, so you're going to get a lot of that crew in there. And sorry, I think at the time when I went to college, my mom gave me enough money to like get a piece of pizza if I was lucky,
and a ramen.
And I certainly did not have money to pay. How much was it? 50 bucks.
$50 for a deluxe suite.
For a deluxe suite in
Ocean View suite for you.
I know. So I mean, I got like $15 and I had to like, use it for pizza and ramen. So yeah, I mean, I think you don't have a lot of extra money when you're in that. And you're probably also, it's a good incentive too. Like you said, you brought up a point that I think is good. A lot of younger, or at least when I was, maybe not now, I was a little bit nervous going into places like that, particularly for the first time. But imagine if you had a friend, you could grab them and be like, hey, it's free. We could try this out, see what it's all about.
Yeah.
And I think it's good. Somebody was comparing it to
too.
Ladies' Night when they do that to get, ladies in for free and the men are not, to kind of even out the room, I guess, or the... And so, but I don't find it pervy at all.
I don't either. And in this day and age of the apps like Grindr and Scruff and all that, it's more of an incentive for them to actually go out and be social with people, even if it's at the bathhouse. Not that there's anything wrong with that, because I've been to a couple bathhouses in my time, let me tell you. But
yes.
Also, I just kind of want to say that I am wondering how, especially having a COVID scare myself recently, how this is going to affect the numbers in DC, because I think that just sounds like a breeding ground for COVID, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, the other question they raise is it too soon to return to the spa scene? I don't know. I mean, so many bars in major cities right now are like this one, asking for proof of vaccination. I'm just wondering if, I don't know. I don't know how they're going to keep the mask mandate in effect unless it's left up to your own devices when you go into like my suite. Then we can obviously do what we want because we're in my suite.
And take your masks off.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Teddy says it's a breeding ground for sure. And I was going to say that joke. So he bitch stole my joke. It's not the kind of breeding ground that I want.
No, exactly. Absolutely. I mean, we'll see. Yeah, I feel it's interesting that they took as long to open up, because when we were reporting on Steamworks in Chicago and Berkeley, they were doing this pre-Delta variant. And here, this DC bathhouse gay spa is choosing to open up just, I think, a couple weeks ago during the Delta variant with the mask mandate, which we still wonder, how is that all going to work out?
How is it going to affect everything?
Anybody going to it in DC, listening to the show, let us know so we can report back. I'm very curious, or Kodi and I will have to get our asses on that train and get over and figure it out. But I mean,
I'll do anything for the people, just
for the people, for the show, for you. Exactly. All right. Well, hey, Tags listeners, craving for more tags? Hungry like I am? Well, now you can unlock exclusive Tags content. I'm talking about our weekly Tags After Show and our twice monthly Dark and Dirty Show. Now you can listen wherever you get your podcasts. You'll get a notice each week when new episodes are dropped exclusively for you. So what are you getting from this exclusive content? Well, you're getting a weekly Tags After Show where the conversation continues with hot gay sex topics in a more relaxed, behind-the-scenes, more intimate format. Our twice monthly Dark and Dirty Show will often feature special guests like my co-hosts, but gets a little darker and a little dirtier as we reveal our sexcapades to your exclusive ears. So what are you waiting for? Subscribe now to unlock exclusive Tags content and know that you'll be supporting Tags Podcast to continue delivering the quality of Tags Podcast you've come to love. You can unlock this exclusive content by going to TAGSPodcast.com and click on the link Tags After Show. Thanks for being a supporter and continue having hot gay sex. We have to move on, and I think we've got to get to our current vulnerable voices.
Okay.
And it all stems from Lil Nas X, the other person who we love, who has a brand new album out, coming out September 17th. And it's his debut album, Montero, if you can believe it. It seems like he's been around for so long.
I know, right? I can't believe it.
But Friday, September 17th, he just released the amazing cover debut of it. It's just luscious in every way, shape, and form, and has Lil Nas X floating in air with a rainbow over his head and butterflies in a paradise situation, naked, of course, as only Lil Nas X could do, arching his back, showing off that booty, ethereal as fuck and looking so tasty. I can't wait for it. It's great. I'll post this on TAGSPodcast.com. And when asked about the album, he's quoted as saying, "Creating this album has been therapy for me. I've learned to let go of trying to control people's perception of who I am, what I can do, and where I will be. I've realized the only opinion of me that really matters is my own." And I couldn't, that just struck me and was the inspiration for this week's Vulnerable Voices is the only opinion of me that really matters is my own.
It's true.
And it's such a beautiful statement, I think, on so many different ways, because we all have opinions of various things. We certainly have so many opinions on this show of everything under the sun. And I think when it comes to ourselves, we're our most critical to ourselves. And even with this show, I think I was sharing with Derek Allen the link so he could listen to episode 294 to hear us talking about him, giving our opinion about him. And when I went on to Apple Podcasts, it's the one platform that shows the reviews of your show.
Okay.
And I'm always nervous to go on there because it's the only one that when people choose to write reviews, typically like Yelp, you'll get great show. However, love the podcast.
It's always a however.
When this host does this, I wish this host wouldn't.
Oh my gosh!
And so I've learned to not go and read the reviews so much because, unlike what Lil Nas X is saying, sometimes it can affect how you feel about certain things. So I've learned to not read the reviews, and I don't know, Kodi. Just on that level alone, is it good to just avoid comments like that? If you know you're getting comments that are negative, to just avoid them or just toughen up and receive them?
So as far as the show is concerned, I definitely don't read the reviews. When you were talking about it, I started to get anxiety. I think I broke out in hives. every fight or flight body thing was happening to me.
Yeah,
and
right.
Because I'm super critical of myself already. So to read those comments and to have that compounded is just anxiety central for me. So I think that, you know, because I am so critical of myself, I always feel like I have to be prepared with a certain look and always sound intelligent. So to read the comments would not be beneficial to me. So I think that maybe you should stay away from the comments, and especially from the haters, because there's always going to be a negative review. Somebody's always going to have something to say negative about you. So I think maybe you should just stay away from them personally.
Yeah. However, I have we've done the show 4 years, and when I have learned to siphon and sift out the constructive ones, and 9 times out of 10, we get so many positive ones. And for the most part, even when somebody says something nowadays, I think because I really trust the work that we put into the shows more than ever before in the last year. And I stand by what we put out there. And I think when you stand by that, even then, if you can get somebody 9 times out of 10 will get positive, but there might be one thing I wish that, for example, the other day we had somebody DM us and say, I love the show. I love that you guys are talking about open relationships. I'm in an open relationship. And I think that it may benefit if you had somebody in an open relationship on the panel. And you saw how we handled that. I think we really gave it a lot of time and extra dedication, and we even read that comment on there. So I think now, to Lil Nas X's statement, is if you really stand by the work that you put out there, and you're gonna get, for the most part, positive remarks, or you're going to be able to siphon out, okay, well, this is just something that I can take constructively, if that makes any sense.
I agree with you. I think that it's great if you can kind of separate yourself from your feelings and how this is making you judge yourself even more. If you can step outside of that and kind of take it as constructive criticism and weigh whether or not it will be beneficial for you to apply this to your show, to your life, to your work in general, I think that could be a good thing. But it's when you when you're unable to separate your feelings and it's making you feel in a negative way towards your work, then I can see how it would be beneficial too. It's just all about what you're capable of in that moment. So.
And then on the show, we talk so much about communication, the importance of communication, particularly when we were talking about open relationships the other day, on how much you have to really, in any relationship, but particularly if you layer in open relationship or polyamorous into the relationship, that you also then have to be willing to hear where your partner's coming from and not. And so I'm just wondering, Kodi,
well, girl, this is the ultimate polyamorous relationship right here that we are in. With all the listeners.
We are really. I know. I feel like I really understand it. Exactly. I know. Attending to them, and it's a constant, reconfiguration, and I love that. I'm just wondering, if, to his point, if the only opinion that really matters is myself, can you still be open to hearing, like, hey, babe, I would like to mix it up in the bedroom and you're not giving me what I need. How does that work, Kodi? And when it comes to the only opinion that really matters is that of my own.
I think that it's super important to be able to receive constructive criticism from your partner, especially now that I'm in a relationship, because before, when it was wham, bam, thank you, sir, I knew I was performing at 110% all the time. And mainly because that was the only performance I was being graded on.
Right.
But now that I have repeat performances that I have, he's grading on a curve. And before, when it was wham, bam, thank you, sir, they didn't know my name. They didn't know my address. They couldn't send me my report card. So.
Exactly. Right. That's so funny. Yeah. I mean, I think it comes more into play. I think he's really just talking about, when he realized the only opinion of me that really matters is my own, is because we tend to judge ourselves so much. But he's not saying don't be open to communication, or if your partner wants to try something new or he's not getting what he needs, that you shouldn't listen to that. And so I think it's good to, you can have it both ways. You can have your own opinion, and you can also you need to be present and listen, have good listening skills. So absolutely.
Especially when it comes to relationships.
Yeah.
If you're not in a relationship with that person, then I think it's safe to kind of block all that negativity out. But if you're in a relationship with somebody, take it in and see if it applies to your life. Basically. Absolutely.
Well, I can't wait for this album, Montero, coming out by
too.
Lil Nas X, September 17th. Mark your calendars. The track list looks amazing. We are here for it. And I love that statement. So you go on, Lil Nas X. All right. Well, we've got to move on to more hot topics. And I sent you this article, Kodi, that I thought was really interesting from The Advocate by Alexander Chavez, excuse me. And he writes this piece called Switching, How to Try Bottoming If You're a Top and Vice Versa. So he writes, modern technology, sex sites, and hookup apps created top, bottom, and versatile. When sexual identities are codified literally into code, sex roles become tags, filtering options, search parameters. And he writes that this has resulted in widespread misconception among queer men that everyone must fall into one category or another. And he writes that it has reduced the richness of queer male sexuality into something simple. So online, for example, he writes, I'm forced to be a top, bottom, or verse. I'm forced to be looking now or not interested or not partnered or not. And there's not a lot of nuanced gray area on these things. So all of this is to say that no one is a total anything. And as a sex worker, he writes, I don't believe in total tops or total bottoms. Most queer men seem to grow versatile with age and experience as if at some point we realize how silly it is to stay closed off to the other side of sex. He goes, I can't tell you how many total tops have asked me about bottoming and how many total bottoms want to power fuck. And he gives some tips on how to switch it. I love that he wrote this as a sex worker, and what better person for this to come from, right? Because he's probably seen and heard it all.
He's seen everything. Yeah,
from clients. And I think first of all, what are your thoughts on what he's talking about? Because I think for so long we do get caught up in these roles that we're supposed to be, but I think it's a lot more complicated than that, don't you think?
I agree. I think that for some people, being strictly a bottom or strictly a top can fill their sexual needs, but it's important to explore your sexuality, and I'm definitely open to exploring mine. I'm in a relationship right now, and we stick to pretty much the top bottom roles. But if he's ever interested in wanting to top, I'm open to that. I'm here to please my partner at the end of the day. So
he may have been joking or not, but when we were talking recently about putting one of the two of you in fishnet stockings,
so
and
that's interesting.
He was watching the show and said,
yes,
okay, but I'm not going to be the one in fishnets and nylons. It's going to be Kodi. And so did you talk about that? And what can you share?
I'm going to share that it's so interesting that that's another layer, because I think, from my understanding, I think that he predominantly wants the bottom, but it's like he almost wants to be a top also as the bottom. So a power bottom per se.
Yeah. And maybe are you alluding to the fact that maybe because you could, like, a power bottom you could be, or he could be in charge, but I've seen there's this hot video out right now that I was watching. It's a woman dominatrix and this guy with a beautiful dick, and she makes teases him to the point where she edges him so much, and she's in control even though he has the dick, and she's controlling the whole situation on
Love it.
And he's shaking like he can't handle it, and she's totally in control. Is that maybe where your boyfriend is?
I guess so.
And you would be.
I'm here for it. I'm down. If he's listening right now, let's do it. Let's get into it right now. Teddy says it's called a Dom Bottom, by the way.
Okay, yeah, I like that. I mean, that could totally be maybe where he's coming from, and that would be in a subtle or not so subtle way, switching it up in the bedroom to not just be traditional roles. So let me read you just a couple that this guy, because he wrote 15 of them. I will post this on TAGSPodcast.com. And so one of the things he says is lose the idea that top, bottom, and versatile are rigid roles you have to live in. He says these roles are invented, and before they existed, we just fucked. You may naturally enjoy different degrees of dominance and submission, but as he covers, dominance and submission have little to do with being a top or bottom. Well, that's exactly what we were just talking about, almost to the T, right?
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I thought you were frozen there for a second, Kodi. I was like, so he goes, you probably, let me read another one there, because there's one that, which one that stood out to you, and we'll discuss, Kodi, and then I'll pick one.
It was the one that says, well, it's just kind of what I said. Explore yourself, not at the demand of someone else. Many people force themselves to play for the other team because of relationships, because their partner decides they want to bottom, so they must become a top. I find that in most cases, a one-sided push to make someone fit your needs doesn't work. If you want to bottom and your partner has no desire to top, it's time to consider non-monogamy. I didn't read that part. It's time to find. I would say it's time to find a new partner, basically, that really fits your sexual needs. Because I'm not a person that really am into non-monogamy. It's not. I can't really.
And there's so much to explore on this whole issue, because I have this friend of mine. He's a dom essentially, and he has clients, and I ran into him. He's back in business because of lockdown. We hadn't seen him for a while. He's this awesome guy. I want to get him on the show at some point. I hope he'll agree. I saw him out recently here in New York at the Eagle, and it was great to see him. And he had this guy I call him a boy because he looked pretty young, but he was legal. Don't worry, people. He this beautiful harness. He had this amazing body, and he was handcuffed and literally and with a leash on. And my friend was walking around the bar and told me, and I've been in this situation before with my friend, that he said, well, what do you want to do with him? Do you want to feel his ass? And I was like, are you sure that's okay? And he said, he'll do whatever I say. And if I tell him that this guy's going to do something to you, he wants to please. And so I felt this guy's ass and spanked it, and I was having fun with it, and it was making me explore a different side of myself, not just bottoming, or I was enjoying playing with this role, like the bottom dom.
You became a dom. Yes.
Yeah. It was fun.
I love
felt
it.
A little bit like, are the cameras filming this? Because I just felt like, but in those parameters, this guy and my friend said, listen, if you want to play more with this guy and explore that side, my friend they'll arrange it for me. And so, that's a really exciting experience to be able to explore with your own sexuality. And I think we don't allow these situations to happen that much, but when we do, we'll find that we have so much more of a well-rounded exploratory side to ourselves that we want to explore. Wouldn't you say?
Because I feel like your sexuality isn't really rigid. Like as far as top and bottom and all those kinds of things.
But according to this article, we've made it that way because
of
these
for
terms.
Sure.
Yeah.
Society has made it that way. So I think that any exploration that you do will help you find the edges of where your sexuality begins, what you enjoy sexually, where it begins and where it ends. So I think exploring is the main thing for me.
I love it. This is a really great article. We only tapped into some of the 15 recommendations that he suggests on how to get out of these acronyms that we place on ourselves and begin to explore other sides of our sexuality. So I will post this on TAGSPodcast.com because I think it's a really great article, and particularly coming from a sex worker. And I think that's really what a great source. And I'm glad he wrote this piece. So
me too.
Read that and see what you think and let us know. You can always let us know and DM us on TAGSPodcast.com. And now it is time for our favorite segment. I put it for those watching, our Thursday Thirst Trap. This is on the eve when we record this. It's our favorite segment where we descriptively describe out of this week's straight up gay porns. How many people this week?
Let me look really quick. They put
18 gay porn stars.
There it is. 18. I was already scrolled all the way down when I
was on my it was a tough one as always. And I was scrolled down to my favorite, but I had to go
favorite.
up.
I was on my favorite.
18 gay porn stars, according to straightupgayporn.com's who took the best photo or video. And my goodness, there are some hotties in the mix. Well, why don't you go first? Because there's even a guy on here that goes by King Dwarf, if you will.
No, I saw that.
And I thought that was really inclusive, and I was love it, right?
Yeah, it's totally awesome. I didn't
Dwarf.
expect that. Yes, he's not. That's not the name that they straight up gay porn put. He calls himself that. So that's important to note. And we are not calling him that. He calls him.
Yeah, exactly.
So I want to give my vote to Sky Knox because he has given me some inspiration for some sexcapades in the future.
Let me get to that. Where is that down the page?
I was just on it. Hold on one second.
It's all right. We're so thrown off today.
I know, right?
Oh, I get it.
He's in a. We can blame it on the rain. Oh,
he's
no,
in a
wait, hold on. He's in a bathtub, and I can't wait to.
It looks like the bathtub
in a bathtub.
I wonder. It looks like the bathtub I was in P-Town, which had, they had some bathtubs are those whirlpool bathtubs.
Okay,
they're a little bit wider. And they have whirlpool access. This looks like one of those. And his booty is out there waiting.
That's why I picked it. See, wait, you're just stealing all my descriptive descriptions.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
So he's in a bathtub, as we have said, and he's on his knees and in the tub and with his hands against the wall, and his ass is up in the air, and he's looking at the camera with this come fuck me eyes, and his ass just looking so delectable. And it just gave me all the inspiration for something I want to do in the future. So I'll let you know when I try on my stockings and when I do the in the bathtub.
We're going to hold you to this because I want, and you know what's really cool is you really need one of those. You don't need it, but back to that bathtub that I had in P-Town, which it's a little bit wider, like it's so meant for two people to be in the bathtub.
Ooh,
so
love it.
It's wide and girthy where it needs to be.
Wide and
about
girthy.
The bathtub.
Pun intended.
But it's made for sex, and the whirlpool concept just adds to the whole mystique. And you don't feel like, I know if I ever redo my bathtub, I'm you gotta get one of those.
You get
because
okay. Can I borrow?
You got those
No.
ones that you know the commercials where they fit your bathtub with the brand new one. Too bad you couldn't.
Oh
get
yeah,
it.
like
But
the over.
It's still your
Okay.
bathtub, motherfucker. It's the same bathtub.
The overlay. I just want to know. Quick question: where did he put the camera that it didn't fall into the water? That's all I want to know.
Good question. Well, he had a partner, I'm sure, that was taking.
There
that.
it is. There it is.
There
Okay.
it is. Yeah.
All right. So who's your
Okay.
pick for this week?
I had a couple of them. Shout out
I had a couple
to
too.
Adrian Hart, who's working out naked in a
Mhm.
gym, and I'm wondering what
Oh,
gym is
that one?
this? Yeah, booty, delicious, naked. He's doing squats one way and then squats the other day, where you see his balls just from the back end, including taking off his pants with dumbbells in each hand. He's chocolate brown and luscious. It's really
Mhm.
hot. I want to work out with him and be below him as he's doing those squats for
Ooh.
sure. So shout out to him. But I think my favorite is a video by a guy that goes by Ashton Summers,
Oh, love him.
who titles this, you can follow him at Ashton Summers 11. He writes "Good night," which I guess is his signing off video, as he viciously jerks off his huge dick. And I'm like, wow, that would put me to sleep. I violently attacked my dick the way he did, with the fur brow in between. He's really hot looking, dark hair, and but violently attacking and his dick before we don't get the cum shot. Sadly, I guess that's to go on.
You got to pay for that.
You got to pay for that. I
That's
think
the money shot. They call it the money shot.
the money shot. And I think if you're looking to go to sleep right away, that's how you gotta like attack it with that rigorous, and then you're just so spent that you just like, good night, people. And I might try that, and I'll report back on that.
I was gonna say, for research, we can do that too. Yeah,
exactly. Did anybody have anything to say on the comments?
Silas, Teddy, what do you guys think?
What was Teddy saying about King Dwarf? Or do we not
He
want to
says
read
King
that?
Dwarf
Okay.
is a Pokemon player, and he is only little in frame. Oh my goodness. There it is right there.
There it is. I love it. Well, cool. You guys can all weigh in as well as we post this Thursday Thirst Trap on TAGSPodcast.com. This is episode 295. So look for that and weigh in. Let us know who's your favorite. That's it for today. My goodness, what a jam-packed show. Super fun.
As so quick.
You can always follow Kodi at his Instagram at Mr. Maurice, or follow him. He's a life coach at KMD Coaching. Follow us, ask us for sex advice, relationship advice on our Instagram. It's at TAGSPodcast. So much fun. Back next week with all new shows. Thanks for watching. Thanks, Kodi.
Thank you. It's a pleasure as always.
Live audience, Silas, Teddy, and everyone else. Thanks so much. In the meantime, continue having hot gay sex.
Yes.
Hey, big spenders. Feel like spending a little on tags? Well, whether you're a big spender or a good tipper, now you can make a one-time or recurring donation to Tags. Show your love and support for Tags Podcast in a big or small way. We promise we're not size queens when it comes to your support. We love you for listening, and if you enjoy Tags, then consider supporting the show so we can continue doing what we love. Go to tagspodcast.com and click on the link Donations.